Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. We haven't really seen a lot of movement here overnight with Bitcoin, but there are two scenarios I want to talk about and show you the different, basically the different outcomes that each of these scenarios would offer. In the first scenario, and that is actually my primary scenario, even though they are both possible. In this particular scenario here, we are seeing that wave, which is coming down since we hit the peak at 25,200 as a 5-wave move. But it is a diagonal pattern, so I count each of these subwaves as 3 waves, ABC, 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 and so on. So in this particular scenario, we are only in the 3rd wave down. And in the 3rd wave down, we can go down, obviously, and will then recover in a 4th wave and come down in the final wave 5 of 5. Looking here at the region, still like 14 to 16K, okay? Let's zoom into the wave 3, which is a 3-wave move, as I said, ABC, so A, B, C. The C wave has 5 waves, which we already, let's say, started. So we've already done the wave 1, we've done the 2. Next would be, and that should happen here over the weekend or into next week, a rollover into wave 3, which would normally be the most bearish wave, then a wave 4 up and a wave 5 down. That's where we are at. And if this is going to be a rollover into wave 3, then I can calculate for you a target for the wave 3 as well. That would be around $17,000. Okay, so the 1.618 fib extension. Now, in this particular scenario, we should hold yesterday's high. So we should absolutely hold the 20,170 level. That was a perfect target. We talked about this in the video before that, before it was reached, because it was the target A equals C. Perfect. Yeah, you can see how these Fibonacci levels are just working out in a nice way. This doesn't have anything to do with the crystal ball. This is pure mathematics. So a key target for a wave 2 is if in A and C, so in A, B, C in the subwaves, the wave C has the same length as the wave A. And that was reached, and we got a strong rejection for that. That indicates that this move up could be over. It is an ideal level to roll over and to come down. Does it need to happen straight away? No, of course not. And there's also no guarantee for it to work out. But this is a key target. I've heard in the comments a few people have actually had their short setup placed here and entered a short trade from here, which should now be in profit. All I can say, consider to move down your stop loss, so you're not going to lose anything, but that's up to you. But yeah, for me now, paying attention to that 20,160 level is important, and then on the way down to the next key breakout level to the downside. I mean, the small one would be here, the 19,170, that swing low, but the main one is the wave B low at 18,850. And if we break that, then I think we're going to follow through and go down to 17K. This is what I'm looking at. And if we go for whatever reason above this high, which the market can do, of course, 20,160, 20,170, if we break that, we have a little bit more resistance here at 20,400. But to be honest, when we get above that, I think the chances are quite high that we're going to move higher. And if that is the case in a bearish count, and that would be my primary expectation actually, then all I would do is to extend this wave B out and assume that this wave B was never finished. Because for me, this is not yet a breakout scenario. It can work. There is a count where we could see this as a breakout, as a diagonal pattern again to the beginning, to new highs. But in that case, I would want to see eventually a move above 22.1K. So I'm not going to believe it until we have a breakout above 22.1K and until we have 5 waves to the upside filled. So until then, my focus is strongly on the downside. Okay, this is one scenario. The other scenario as well, which I talked about before as well, is to see that the decline is a diagonal pattern as well. It's just the internals are counted differently. Yeah, so in that scenario, we're looking here at some kind of a descending wedge. Yeah, which you could also call it a diagonal pattern. It's just a different way of drawing it. In this particular scenario, we have done the wave 1, we have done the wave 2, we have already done the wave 3, we have already done the wave 4, and we are already in wave 5. Now this is a scenario where the next leg down could end the bear market. I find that quite an interesting thought. That would be pretty much in line actually with Ethereum, with the expectation around the Ethereum chart that Ethereum could be very close to bottoming out here. And I can also give you a target for that wave 5 here. And also here we see this movement as a 3-wave move in wave 5, A, B, C. It matches quite well actually. It's just how it's counted is a bit different. In this wave C though, it would be a 5-wave move, and we've done here in the 5th wave, the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave is to come and might have already started. Also in this scenario, we must not exceed the 20,400 level. And what would be a target for a wave 5? Well, a main target would be, again, we take the wave A and measure the length from the beginning of wave C. So the target A equals C would take us actually to 18,275. Now that would be a lower high, higher low, sorry. Don't really believe into this, but it's still something we need to have on the radar. So I'm going to highlight that actually on this chart, 18,275. But a target that makes more sense to me in this case would be the $17,100 level, the 1.618 extension. Now another target, because this is an ending diagonal, would be if we take the length of wave 3 and one target to measure that. Oops, what happened now? Try it again. Is the 61.8% extension of wave 3, and that would also take us to 17,300. So it's basically in this range, okay? So we've got here this basically as a target area to end this 5th wave, which I'm going to highlight to you here. Now again, which of these scenarios is going to work out, I'm not sure, but point is, if we go through this area here, so if we go below, let's say 17K, then it is most likely going to be, then we're most likely in this scenario. This scenario, the first one I showed you, is then in power. But for me, in both scenarios, we're heading down. Is there a scenario to break out directly from here? Yes, indeed, but it doesn't have a lot of reliability at the moment. And as long as we really get above 22,100, I'm not gonna believe it. But we need to have obviously some preparation for that, right? We need to understand it's possible. But for me at the moment, still everything pointing to the downside until the market proves something different. And yeah, I mean, I've got in both scenarios, we count this move down as an ending diagonal, right? Just in different ways. Diagonal patterns are always indecision patterns. And therefore you have all these overlaps, you've got ups and downs, right? And I mean, all it does really, such a diagonal pattern, is delaying the eventual move. Yeah, it's quite interesting, but in such an ending diagonal, obviously the bears are still sort of in power. It just takes much longer to play out. Okay, and that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.